We're looking at our 1957 Imperial, not a Chrysler Imperial, so I was told by many collectors and professionals. Beautiful fins and taillights on this car. I love the bumper too. Not a huge fan of the spare tire circle. Butternut squash, I'm told, is the color. I don't think it's original. Here we got the engine bay. Crazy bellows. .392 Hemi. Look at that thing. What a beaut. Pay attention to the dash coming up. Really cool push button drive. Left hand side by the A pillar. Check that out. What a beautiful interior. A lot of metal. Big back seat. Alright, here we have a trunk that could fit a lot of things in it. If you were in the mafia back in the day, I'm sure you could find some things to put in there. Really cool taillights. God, these things are awesome. I thought about cutting this car up, but I just couldn't. These would be great on a rat rod. Sounds great. Just so sweet. Now we're giving them a wash for the first time since 2010. Sat in a garage through those bushes. Fun story of the cat that lives in the White House. Always goes across the street and hunts stuff. It's her little kitty prints that were all over this thing. So the whole time I'm washing this thing, I'm thinking about what the hell am I going to do with it. I think it measures like 18 feet from front to tail. So my thought process and options here are, do I yank the engine and trans and rear differential for a rat rod project? Because nothing would be cooler than seeing that Hemi hanging out a rusty old hot rod. Do I fix this thing up? Try to get more money for it. I've done a little research online, and the engine itself is probably worth $4,000 because it runs. Old school hot rodders love these things. It's the first gen Hemi 392, something like 320 to 345 horsepower. So there's a lot of options. Time is of the essence here because winter's coming and I can't park on the road 1st of November. I've got my Mustang in the garage and I need a slot to work on things. So I decided to clean it up, obviously, and throw it online for sale. The struggle is, if I had the space and the time, all of those other options would be very worthwhile. You know, even parting this thing out would be pretty advantageous. I spoke with a gentleman out east that specializes in Imperials, and he would pay me 1,500 for the shell as is. So basically, no drivetrain. I'm guessing that he will take and part this thing out over time, which is it's a good way to use an old car to make other ones live, right? The condition of this thing is pretty good, I'd say. There's definitely some rust, and as I clean it, I come to the realization that it's been painted. This paint didn't match any of the chips that came at the car stock, and then as I clear the dust off, I start to see the impurities and the overspray. Start to notice, places that weren't masked very well, some body filler. There's a metal pad. So, in cleaning this thing out, I found some information about possibly the original owner from Iowa. He was a postal carrier. There's some really cool relics I found in this thing that felt like they had to stay with the car. There's a prayer, an automotive prayer about traveling, which is pretty neat. And just some things that showed the age that went with it, like an almanac. I think I found in some sort of brochure. But the owner that I bought it from across the street there, I think he bought it in 07 and drove it for a while. And, for whatever reason, again, I'm not sure why he stopped, but he was sitting in his garage and he needed to make some space and he needed a quick sell. And dealing with people online these days is always so much fun. So I picked it up with all the options in front of me, and I think finding a home for it, that it's going to be loved is the right call. I put this thing up online just to learn more about it, and it blew up. Well, blew up for my standard, but a lot of guys really like this car and really, had a lot of interest. Not as much locally, but once I put it for sale, it went pretty fast locally. I think these things are rare. I think two-door convertible is the ultimate. Four-door hard post top deal, not as desirable. But this thing's pretty solid. I mean, if I was more connected to it, I would have definitely. So, in doing some research about this thing, I find out that it's one of the earliest cars with power windows, power seats, the push button gear select, which is still a mystery, but really cool, still functional. I think the AM radio had a civil defense band on it, which is pretty cool. Ashtrays in every door. We had cigarette lighters in the back seat doors. From what I read, this was the car. If you were anybody back in the late 50s, this was the car to have. This. I didn't take this decision lightly to move on from this car. It's not my cup of tea. But it's cool. It's cool in its own way. And It's not every day you stumble across something like this, so I mean, given the space, I would have kept it. The interior was pretty smelly, and I'm not really sure how you go about correcting that. So it needed to go someone that loved it. So I got it all cleaned up and took some pictures for the post. No, I didn't post the wet pictures, um, but it looked a lot better. It looked a lot better and a little bit worse in some ways, I guess. I think it's raining in this picture, but you can definitely tell how shiny and clean and beautiful it is after a cleanup. Needed a door handle. If you look closer to these fenders, you can see some rust starting, some bubbling, but pretty solid. I just love the front end of this car. So much you could cut up and put in a rat rod if you wanted to. These taillights, I just can't get over them. I forget what they're called, gunner sight taillights, but they look even cooler in person. Cooler to touch, cooler to see. You can see a little bit of the rot by the rear wheel there, but it's pretty solid across the board. Very little bit of rust in each fender well, more in the back. The trunk floors are rotted out, but there's not much to them. Underside was really good. Somebody replaced the rocker. They did not do a good job. I ended up getting all three hubcaps for this thing. I couldn't find the fourth, but that's okay. We didn't even know the roof was white when we bought it. You can see the interior, and it's very complete. It's not too bad, but some stains and the mouse smell is just horrific. True duals underneath it. The floors are looking really solid. Drive shaft was good shape, no vibration. Little rear diff leak. Just what an interior. I mean, the comfort, the enjoyment someone must have had. Can only imagine how many cigarettes were smoked in this car. The sills were good, the rockers were good. No rust here. Underside, you can see, a lot of rot. Huge frame on this thing. I think it's a truck frame that's been repurposed, and that's probably 6x8 on each side. A little crusty there, but I mean, really, for a car from the 50s in Iowa and Wisconsin, pretty good. And then finally the other side, I think this is driver's side, yeah, but had new tires on it, and brakes work good, just a leaky pedal. That's about it. Thanks for watching.